Okay, so not too long ago, I did a video on stretching wedding bands, and so now what I'm going to do is a video on shrinking wedding bands. And so if you look here on the ring shrinker, it's got a plate down here, and this plate comes off as long as there's a dial here, and this needs to be raised up. Then you can take the plate out, and it's got different sizes on both sides here. So then you put it back in, and the dial here gets turned down. And so when you turn it down, you can take a band. Now you want to set it in there. Now this hole would be too big because it's almost flush. So we'd move over to the next one, and it's sticking up just a little bit. So what we want to do is we want to turn this dial down so that it's really close to the band. So of course different widths of bands, it's going to go down different depth. And so once you get it on there, you want it to be level. And then at that point you can pull down on the handle. Normally I'd have this screwed in. So you can pull down the handle, raise it back up, then you would turn that, you'd flip the band over, put it back over there, and do it again. Because what it's doing is it's compressing the edge of the band. And so a good example of this, let's see, find my picture here. So the best type of band is a band that has a rounded shape to it like this. And so when that band goes in there, it's going to press it, and it's going to cause the bottom opening here that goes on the finger to compress and become smaller, which means then you got to put it in the other way and compress it again. So this is the best type of band to use. Now, some people will take a flat band, so it starts out flat like this, and when they compress it, it will round the edges. That's something you need to be aware of so that the client knows that. And so when you get done, if it's a fairly thin band, it's going to be hard to make that flat again without making it too thin. So that's one of the things you need to discuss with a customer. Now another thing is that if it starts out this shape, if you compress it too far, it's going to concave the inside of the ring. That's another thing to discuss with your client. If you're doing a flat ring, it's going to round the top and it's going to concave the inside. So that's an important thing to think about. Another thing is sometimes you have a band that has a pattern on it. Now with a pattern, because it's going to be compressing along the edge, it can really distort your pattern. So I've found, and you really got to test this sometimes, that you can put a piece of cloth down. Now for a wider band we'd have to turn that up, raise that up, but you can take the cloth and you can put that in there and you can compress it, and it will help to keep the pattern from getting too, I guess the best word would be squished, because it kind of squishes it. But this has worked in the past for me. Let's see, what else? If you have, say, a two-tone band. Now a two-tone is going to have, say, a yellow center and a white outside. If you put this in here, there's a good chance when you squish it that it's going to pull apart the seam that joins those two. So when you reduce rings, There's a lot of it that's involved that you got to really think about. You got to really study the piece, make sure that you're not going to cause more harm than good to it. And if you are, really your only alternative at that point is to make either a sleeve for the inside of the band or to cut the band and then solder it back together. But I think that's about it for making a ring smaller and shrinking it. And I thought you guys would like that. All right. Thank you.